Hi, everyone. Peace, love, and harmony. Happy Wednesday. I'm Marissa Charlotte Presley, and I want to talk to you today about, well, how about the full moon before we talk about anything? How is the moon? Is she just stunning? She's beautiful. Go outside, go say hi to her. Tell her she's gorgeous because she looks amazing. And I am just happy that you are safe, that you are healthy, that you are here joining me to talk about victim blaming. We do this so often, and sometimes I don't even think that we actually know that we're blaming the victim with some of the comments that we make, especially victims of domestic violence, victims of sexual assault, victims of rape, all survivors. We've heard it all, and I've worked on cases where I've actually accompanied the victim survivor to the police stations in many cities to report a crime. And wow, like right off the bat, the first thing that like the first question that they ask is so blaming of the victim instead of asking, are you okay? Is there anything I can do for you? Can I get you a cup of water? Would you like a cup of tea? No, the first question asked is, why were you at the party? Whoa, what? Why were you at the party? What were you wearing? Were you drinking? Were you flirting? Were you being provocative? So really, like those are the questions that are asked when a victim tries to report a crime, especially an intimate partner crime. And I think like this is like my reasoning. It's not based on any like research or any studies or any data. I can't back it up with anything except like my own opinion. I believe that we as a society victim blame others because then we could step outside of that situation and say, well, that will never happen to me because I just won't do whatever it is that she did to get herself in that situation. So I just won't do whatever it is that she did. Right? Does that make sense? So I think it's part of like the way that we survive, so that that sort of stuff, horrible stuff like rapes and violence doesn't happen to us. So I don't think that a lot of us do it like in a way where we want to harm the victim, but it is harming the victim. It is blaming the victim, and it is putting the victim in a place where most of us don't want to even report it because we know that we are going to be blamed for the violence that has been done against us. So we don't report it. A lot of these crimes go unreported. And then when we do report it, and trust, I have friends who have reported horrible, horrific crimes that belong, like, in a movie. And just imagine, not only do you have to report it when you show up and like knock knock knock, hi police officer, I'm here to report a crime. You have to tell them what you want to report. Then you have to tell that to a detective, and then to another detective, and then to another detective, and then whew, you got to give details of what was done to you, how your body was used, how they slapped you, where you landed, what fell on top of you when you fell backwards when you were pushed. And all of this, you're telling people that are going to blame you. This is how, as family members, this is how we blame a victim of domestic violence. You know what we say to her or to him? We say, well, why don't you just leave? Saying that to a victim survivor of domestic violence, why don't you just break up? If it was me, I would never put up with that. The first time a man hit me, I walk out the door so fast. No, it's not going to be about hitting the first time. Because if, okay, you're on the first date and you get slapped, you're not going to go on a second date. That's obvious. None of us would do that. But domestic violence is systematic. It's a gesture, it's a word, it's something that us as victim survivors, we either minimize or we dismiss. And then when it's time for us to leave and we finally decide to leave, it's not that we don't want to report it, it's that when we do report it, we're not believed. A lot of times, another question that victim survivors, I mean, this one is like throughout the board, okay? This question is asked: why didn't you report it sooner? What took you so long to report it? Because we didn't report it sooner because while I was traumatized, while I was being raped, it took me a minute or two to get back on my feet. Yeah, and I still have nightmares and night sweats and night tremors. And, I haven't been eating very well. And yeah, that's why it took me so long. And those questions, they have nothing to do with the investigation. So I don't even know why we're asking these questions of the victim survivor of these horrible crimes. There's victims. I personally, professionally have worked with victim survivors, teenagers who went to a party, had some, I don't know, drug put into their drink, and then they wake up and they're bruised in their thigh area, they're bruised in their genital area, their clothes is disheveled, they feel dizzy, disoriented. And then what do they report it? Most of them don't, because they know there's not a woman on the planet who does not know that she will be blamed for this crime. Okay, most of us who have reported have had somebody in our family ask us, well, why did you let that happen? Or why didn't you do something? Did you fight back? No, actually, I couldn't fight back because while he was raping me, my body paralyzed with fear. So no, I didn't fight back. So a lot of those questions, we don't need to be asking the victim. We should be asking the victim, what can I do for you? How can I help you, victim survivor of a horrible, horrible crime? When I did report a couple of crimes that were committed against me by family members. I reported it to Child Protective Services. Unfortunately, it was too late. Like it had many years had passed. But even the fact that like I reported it, it made me feel like I could close that chapter and move on and start that healing journey and that healing process that I so much needed, right? But I have a lot of friends in the field of victim services. I have a lot of friends who work in the field of human trafficking, in the rape response. I have victim survivors who are actually victim survivors who are working in the field, of helping victims who have all not been believed, who've all been blamed, and especially by family members. And this is something about family members: the way that you react to a famous person's disclosure or a famous person's report of violence, the way that you react to that is going to be a huge indicator if a child in your life is going to tell you about their experience. So if you are telling Rihanna after Chris Brown beat her brutally that, she probably deserved it, then the child that is sitting next to you as you are speaking in this manner is most likely not going to open to you if she is a survivor or if that does ever happen to her. Intimate partner violence, the way that you react to any report of any victim survivor, the way that as a society we reacted to Amber Heard, Johnny Depp's wife, the way that we reacted to her disclosure, to her reporting of the violence that she endured at the hands of Johnny Depp is just a disgrace. It's a disgrace because no one believed her, well, except for a small, group of us advocates. Then we believed her, but most of the world could not believe that their favorite actor, he was my favorite actor too, Edward Scissorhands, forget it. It's hard to believe that somebody that we admire so much, who is so talented, can be so cruel to the person that they're supposed to love and take care of. So the way you react to these famous cases when you're watching television and the report is on the news, pay attention that there's going to be children around you that you are either caring for or that you are mentoring, and they're going to hear your response. In the best of families, there are rapists. In the best of families, there are child molesters. And in the best of families, there are people who harm their partner, including my family, including your family, right? So it's interesting how we won't talk about those topics, but we do often tell a victim, "Oh, I don't know why you stay. Why don't you just leave?" Do you know, this is fact, this is data, this is research. Do you know that when a victim survivor of domestic violence, if she identifies as female in the United States of America, if she leaves, breaks up, ends her relationship, walks out the door, wants a divorce, it's done, it's over, I don't want this anymore, and she leaves, that within the first 72 hours after she leaves, she is most likely going to be killed, and the chances of that happening is a 75% chance. And check this out, the FBI also says that this victim survivor, if she decides to break up, walk out the door within the first 72 hours, she's most likely going to be killed. The chance will go up to 500% chance of being killed if the person that she is breaking up from, the person she's leaving, has access to firearms. 500% chance of being killed. Yes, just because she left. So when you have a victim survivor in your family, instead of saying, "Why don't you just leave?" ask, "What are the barriers that limit you from leaving?" Then maybe I can help, right? Can I help with providing an emergency cell phone for you? Can I provide you a 24-hour crisis hotline number? Can I be a person that you can trust with all of your important documents? But we'll talk about that in another video when we start talking about safety planning, and escape. If you ever meet a victim that has survived a crime, don't instead of asking, like, "What were you doing at the party?" or "Why don't you just leave? What were you doing there? What were you wearing?" Ask, "What can I do for you? What can I do for you? How can I help you?" Those are the best questions to ask. When as a society, when you think about crime, if your family member was a victim of a carjacking, you would never say to your family member, if they came home and they're like, "Yeah, my car got carjacked," you would never say, "Oh, why were you driving a car? Carjackings happen all the time." You wouldn't do that, because that would be victim blaming. We also don't blame a victim who is mugged, right? And their wallet is stolen. We don't ask, "Were you carrying your wallet? Why were you carrying your wallet? Muggings happen all the time." You wouldn't think about doing that to a victim of a mugging, right? Or, like, this is a good example, a victim of an earthquake. And like in California, they say, like, the big one is coming, right? You wouldn't say to someone who survived an earthquake, "Well, why do you live in California if you knew that the big one was coming?" No, we're not going to help you. It's your fault. We don't do that for those crimes. We only blame victims of intimate partner crimes, gender based violence crimes. That's when we blame the victim. So if you're listening to me and you're a victim survivor, I believe you 100%. I do not doubt that your story is real. I believe you. And leave me a comment and tell me what you think about victim blaming and how it has affected your life. And hashtag I believe you. I mean it. Okay. I really believe you. And for all of you who are out there and you think that you're alone, you're not. You're not alone. I have worked in this field and I have talked to so many victim survivors who have felt so alone, and you're not alone. And that's why I do these videos. One, so that we can educate the community, and two, so that you do not feel like you are the only one who is going through this, and that you are surrounded by caring individuals. Okay. So send me comments, reach out to me. Now, what are you going to do for self care? I, of course, am going to drink my chocolate abuelita, because I love it so much. You know why I love my chocolate abuelita so much? Because it reminds me of my abuelita, my grandmother. It reminds me of how she used to make it for me and what it would taste like and all the love that she would put in it. So that's how I'm going to self care tonight. But I'm also going to self care with La Luna. I'm going to go and talk to the moon and look at the moon and just share moments with the moon. So I invite you to self care. Take off your wings, take off your halo, and please Go find your happiness, whatever that means, whatever your bliss is, go look for it, okay? Go find it. I wish all of you peace. I wish all of you love, and I wish all of you harmony. Bye.